On this episode of Law & Order, we will be presenting the Washington versus Texas case.
Please rise. This court is now in session. Petitioner Jackie Washington was convicted in Dallas County, Texas of murder with malice and was sentenced by a jury to 50 years in prison. Prior to this trial, Charles Fuller was convicted of the same murder. Jackie Washington and Charles Fuller were convicted of killing Jean Carter's boyfriend on the night of August 29, 1964. At the day of his trial, Jackie Washington wanted to use his co-participant's testimony for his own defense. Before the incident occurred, petitioner Jackie Washington dated 18-year-old Jean Carter until her mother forbid her to see him. Jean Carter therefore started dating another boy, the deceased young man. Angered and filled with jealousy, Jackie Washington gathered several other boys, one being Charles Fuller, and began driving to Jean Carter's home. What Jackie and the other boys didn't know was that Charles Fuller was carrying a shotgun with him the entire time. Once they arrived at the house, they started to throw bricks at the house to get Jean and her boyfriend's attention. Both Jean and her boyfriend rushed to the porch to investigate what was happening outside. At the day of the trial, Washington claimed that Charles Fuller, who was already convicted of the same murder, actually shot the victim while Washington attempted to stop the shooting and prevent the murder from happening.
Jackie Washington claimed Charles was intoxicated and tried to convince him to leave before shots were fired. Charles insisted he was going to shoot someone, so Jackie ran back to the car. As he was running back towards the car, he could see the girl's mother coming out of the house, and her shots made him think Charles shot the woman. Jackie then offered the testimony of Charles Fuller. Records show that Jackie attempted to get Charles to leave before any shots were fired, and that Jackie ran before anything happened.
Fuller promised he would testify for these events, but the prosecutor denied it from happening. They said the state of Texas prevented people who were charged in the same crime from testifying for or against one another. The state of Texas believed that they would be likely to lie for each other on the stand and affect the credibility of the trial. The state of Texas defended themselves by saying that the Sixth Amendment to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in your favor is applicable to the states through the 14th Amendment. Washington argued that refusing to allow Fuller to testify violated his Sixth Amendment rights. Jackie Washington argues that his Sixth Amendment rights were being violated because the Bill of Rights guarantees a citizen with a speedy trial, a fair trial, an attorney, and the chance to confront the witness who's accusing the defendant of the crime. Washington's defense attorney compared the situation to a regular case. They said just as an accused has the right to confront the prosecution's witness for the purpose of challenging their testimony, that he or she has the right to present their own witness in his or her favor. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals convicted Washington and sentenced him to 50 years in prison. The Court of Criminal Appeals rejected Washington's plea that Fuller should have been allowed to testify for this case. Jackie Washington then petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court to hear his case, and the Supreme Court decided to grant his review.
The court said that Fuller's testimony was not relevant in the trial. It prevented under the theory that they would most likely lie for each other on the stand, and that would affect the credibility of the trial. There was a unanimous decision for Washington, and 6 out of the 9 agreed on the behalf of Washington. Chief Justice Earl Warren wrote the opinion on the Supreme Court. The court first held that the Texas law at issue denied Washington the right of the trial, using witnesses who testified to relevant and material facts in his case. Earl Warren says the petitioner was denied the right to the compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, for which is a fundamental right incorporated in due process clause. Washington was denied a witness who was physically and mentally capable of testifying for these events. Judgment of conviction must be reversed. It is so ordered. However, the court held that Washington's constitutional right surpassed a state's rule that prohibits co-defendants from testifying for each other in lie in a criminal trial. At the end of the trial, Justice John M. Harlan stated that Washington's rights due process was violated and that the conviction should be reversed. Washington versus Texas is a Supreme Court case that decided that compulsory process clause from the Sixth Amendment should be applicable in state and federal courts. The Supreme Court's decision supported and changed the way judges evaluate the credibility of people's statements.